Dragon Age the Veilguard will release in just a few days on October 31st, and we have a lot of questions to answer. What are the exact release times? When is the preload? What are the system requirements? And what do you get depending on which version of the game you are buying? So let's jump right into it. The first question is, of course, when is the game releasing? Well, I already said that. It's on October 31st, which is this Thursday, or depending on the time zone you are living in, it's November 1st, of course, and it's in the middle of the night. But you can see the release times right now in the video. For Central Europe, it is 5 p.m. For Britain, it is 4 p.m. For the East Coast of the US, it is 12 p.m. And for the West Coast, it is 9 a.m. Pacific time. And then again, you can see the other time zones all in the video. Now, what is also important to note is that no, the usual trick with changing your console to a New Zealand citizen for a few hours so you can play early does not work. The game is releasing at the same moment everywhere around the world, so changing your time zone does absolutely nothing. Okay, so do we get a preload? Yes, thankfully. You can also see the times right now in the video, and the Xbox Series S and X version has been already live since October 14th. PlayStation is going live right now. If you're watching this video right now, it means PS5 preload is available. Now, unfortunately, the PC is not getting a preload, and you have to wait till the release. That's the bad news. The good news is the reason for that, because they decided that Dragon Age the Veilguard will release with no DRM, with no copyright protection, such as Denuvo, which is kind of wild because the very first EA game which started to use Denuvo was Dragon Age Inquisition, and then they have been using Denuvo for every single game, even for purely multiplayer games like Battlefield. They always had Denuvo, and this is not the first game where they are not doing that anymore, which is certainly interesting in its own, but that is not really the topic here. So again, PC players, you have to wait till the release, which will be quite a bit, because when we are looking at the Dragon Age Veilguard system requirements, you will probably notice immediately that you need at least 100 gigabyte on your storage, which means it will probably have to download around 60 or 80 gigabyte, and then it will blow up to 100. And you can see the system requirements right now here in the background. And this is actually pretty cool. When you are looking at the minimum requirements, then you will realize that you can play this game literally on a 10-year-old PC at this point. Of course, in 1080p and 30 FPS and lowest graphics settings, but at least you can play it, and that's pretty nice. If you want to get more eye candy, though, well, you have to bring much more hardware power to the fight, which is totally understandable. And if you are deciding to even go into the ray tracing environment, then you need even better hardware, so prepare accordingly. But what I'm seeing here when it comes to the system requirements, I would say this is pretty decent. There seems to be some optimization. Of course, we can only really test that when the game is out. But sometimes you have games where you're looking at the system requirements and you just go, oh, you tried to brute force it, huh? Yeah, I understand. Or when you were looking at some system requirements and they are far too low and it makes no sense whatsoever, and that's always a problem. So there are some indicators where you know that the game will be badly optimized, but it seems like this seems to be pretty decent. Of course, as always, wait for the reviews, wait for the test, if that is something which is really important to you. Also, very important to note, all those things you are seeing here was achieved through one upscaling. So FSR, DLSS, or the Intel equivalent, which I always forget the name of, has always been active to achieve those numbers on an average performance, which again is a topic in itself, but just so you know. Now, the next big question is, of course, wait, what am I getting when I'm now buying the game? Well, the good news is they are basically two different versions. There is the standard edition and the digital deluxe edition. And Everyone is also coming with a pre-purchase bonus. They love to put in the Dragon Age armor, with the red dragon from Dragon Age Origins. So everyone who's pre-purchasing it is getting the Blood Dragon cosmetic armor. But if you decide to go for the deluxe edition, which you can also see here in the background, you will only get cosmetics. You will only get cosmetics. They will not give you any advantage. It's purely cosmetic for your followers and for your main character. Also, very interesting, there is no early access phase. So getting the deluxe edition does not allow you to play the game 2 or 3 days earlier. And as I mentioned before, the game is releasing at the same moment everywhere around the world. But with that said, I hope you found this video informative. If you still have some questions, let me know down below in the comments and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. But again, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. One last thing I have forgotten to mention, this game is also Steam Deck verified. So if you're using that, that's probably a pretty nice thing to have. With that said, have a good one, stay safe,